Hello, what's going on? I'm like 3 minutes late today. Sorry about that. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Today, we're going to talk about getting more traffic and earning more. We're going to hit a couple of basically the big hitters. There's only a few thumb screws with these sort of websites, whether you have a display ad website or an affiliate site, usually both. Usually it's a good idea to do both. I heard myself, so that's good. And I think everyone at this point, if you clicked over here, you saw that I did a thing that I sometimes complain about, which is I was a little too cute. It's very meta. It's very meta. I decided that I was going to do something different with a thumbnail, and I'll explain why. So I picked a beautiful woman, just some kind of clip art situation. Not clip art, but it's like the stock photography on Canva. That's where I do all my thumbnails. And I do like to just use a few words, stick to the facts. No real clickbait, but I thought I'll just put a better picture than one of myself and see how it works. And so far, so good. Actually, there were a lot more people earlier, but as people are seeing, it's not the woman that was on there and it's me. They're disappearing at this point, but we're still going to cover the things that we're going to cover. So we're going to talk about getting more traffic, earning more money. We'll talk about content in a few different ways. We'll talk about optimizing, adding, and improving content. So it's kind of related to optimizing, but there's a couple other aspects to talk about. I'm going to it's going to be a quick hitter overall. So I'm going to go through what you can do kind of on a higher level, not fully in depth. And then the other part is link building. And I was chatting with a buddy the other day. Actually, he was on here just a second ago, Ron, the 1 hour professor. Check out his channel if you haven't. And basically, he was like, yeah, links are really important. And he and I are some of the outliers that talk about link building. It's very popular. There's both sides of the coin. Some people are telling you, hey, you got to build a ton of links. It's all about link building. And the other people, the counterpoint to that is don't build any links, never build links, don't even try, don't think about building links because that's the wrong thing to do. So it turns out links do help. So I'm going to give a shout out to some folks in the chat here before we get into it. We have, of course, 1 hour professor, Ron Stefanski, Gustavo, my other buddy, Jennifer there, ACP, what's up? Adrian and David, shout out to those guys. They help me out in the chat and make sure order is maintained. Mediocre, Tim, Gina, and Masher. All right, awesome. Cool. And I see Gina says something about Google hit us again last week, question mark. You saw an article yesterday. So I saw something about a Google update as well. It sounds like it was more minor. I didn't notice anything personally, but I think a couple sites had a little more traffic, but I've been doing things to try to get more traffic. So I will mention, yeah, so in the thumbnail, people are appreciating the thumbnail. The thing is, you can't do it all the time. Otherwise, it's the same old trick. So in the thumbnail, I wrote, she's not in the video. It's just clickbait. And that's the thing. Like if you're too cute, like I have seen people send out a sales email. They're selling their product. They're finally launching and they put unfortunate sales email. Just, sell the thing, be yourself. Don't be shy. Don't hide. But last week I had a thumbnail and a topic which I thought was pretty good. The topic was good. Thumbnail, clearly not good. And I had a picture of myself and there were far fewer viewers. I'll put it that way. And to a point where I realized it was probably the picture. So I thought, hey, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. Not a picture of me, not even a better picture of me, but just no picture of me at all. Maybe we'll see how this rolls. All right. So the thumbnail worked this time. I got to mix it in occasionally and use some other images, not just me. All right. Tim says, is it all about content marketing as far as getting more traffic? And partially, right? So it's a twofold situation, and we'll get into the meat and potatoes here in a second for the content side, and we'll cover 2 to 3 main aspects here. I'll also remind you, this is interactive. Of course, I'm talking to the fine people in the chat. I kind of save the questions towards the end. So if it's highly relevant, I'll jump in and answer the question right away. Sometimes I'll hold it towards the end and just answer a lot of questions that are unrelated to the topics that we're talking about. But I want to give a shout out to Ezoic and, well, in general, Ezoic, because they sponsor these live streams in my podcast if you haven't checked it out, and their Site Speed Accelerator. I am not sure if I'm going to continue pushing the Site Speed Accelerator specifically, but I highly encourage you to check out the Ezoic blog. I mentioned this in a recent podcast because their blog is fantastic. There's a lot of informative articles, of course, but there's some cool kind of inside information in there. So there's a link in the description. You can just head over to their homepage. There's a link over to the blog and just peruse some of the topics. There's a lot of categories and a lot of helpful information. One, this is kind of a throwback that I was doing research. They actually have an article on free WordPress themes that load fast. I mentioned the Site Speed Accelerator in general, but they are concerned with sites loading fast, and there's going to be a solution out there for this kind of thing. And one of the solutions is a fast WordPress theme. So they kind of outline some of the fast ones, some of the slow ones to stay away from. So I don't remember where that was, nor do I have a link for it. But if you go peruse the blog over at Ezoic, you could check out that article and many others all about, everything related to publishing. So thanks to Ezoic. Even if you don't sign up for using their service or anything like that, let them know that you appreciate the support of the show. All right, moving on. And Jen asks about link building, which we'll come to that in the second part. So number one, if you have an existing site, so this is about getting more traffic, and it basically counts no matter how much traffic you have. So one of the fastest ways you can get more traffic is to go back and improve your existing content, particularly content that is already ranking kind of well. So that is relative to your site. Maybe if you have some keywords and some posts that are ranking very highly, your best post may be in the top 5 already, and you could still optimize some of your content that is ranking well. One of the reasons why that works so well, and stick with me on the logic here, is Google likes that page already. It doesn't matter if it has links. If you're ranking well for it, Google appreciates the content on there, which is good. So they're giving their vote of approval by ranking you and sending you traffic. The reason why this can work well is Google likes it. And if you go and add content that maybe you're not even targeting, or content that is not built out and as resourceful as it could be, you can get in more long tail traffic. Even if you don't move up in the rankings, you could pull in more long tail traffic. If you do move up in the rankings because of that, you obviously would get more traffic because you're ranking higher for maybe those keywords that get higher searches per month, more search volume. So it's really simple to go through, and you could do this in a free way. You can go over to the Search Console, check out, say your top 10 posts based on the amount of traffic. Maybe you could look at your top 10% of your posts based on where they rank or the traffic. And then you'll have a handful, right? Because the hard part with trying to optimize is there's too many articles. Let's say you have 100 articles or 400 articles on your site. It's pretty much overwhelming. Anything more than 8 is probably going to be a little overwhelming, because each one of those articles represents evaluating the content that's there, figuring out what to add, doing the research, and it ends up being quite a lot of work. So if you could narrow it down to 10 or less to start off with, or if you happen to have a whole lot of content on your site, maybe you focus on the top 10%. So if you have 400 articles, maybe you look at the top 40, all right? So you can go through, look on the Search Console, and figure out what terms, which queries, as the vocabulary on the Search Console, it's a query, so you can find out which queries are bringing in traffic for a particular post. You will have to filter out some of the noise. So one good way to do it is to look at the number of impressions. So you can just look at the queries that have a high number of impressions. You'll have to look at your own data to figure out what high means, but you'll get the number of impressions and where it ranks, and then you can figure out, do I cover this topic? Go look at that query, look at the piece of content, and then you can figure out, okay, I only mentioned this phrase one time and I don't cover anything in depth. It's literally just one mention in a sentence. If you add a section, for example, say an H2 subheading, and then you add 2 paragraphs, a couple hundred words maybe, on that topic, there's a good chance you're going to rank for either that term or that term and associated long tails, thus bringing you in more traffic. A subset of this idea is to add frequently asked questions. Of course, it's fairly simple to go to Google the term. You'll see some related questions. It's other searchers also ask or something like that. And they list out the questions and the answer right there for you. And there's tools out there you can use, like Market Muse is a tool that I've been using a lot more lately. And I actually have an interview coming out soon with the co-founder. So that's exciting. It's coming out in a couple weeks here. And they have a question section. You could go to Answer the Public, where I think, at least the last time I checked, you can get 3 free queries and get some ideas about questions there as well. So that's a couple ways to add content and or improve it. So kind of a combo. For kind of optimizing, there's a few things you can do, and one of the big things is just making sure you have some clear calls to action. So this is about optimizing your conversions. This is about utilizing and earning more from the traffic that you already get. So depending on how optimized your site is, you may want to spend time improving and adding content versus trying to optimize for conversions. But basically, you want to make sure you have a few clear calls to action. One of those would be a button that says check price on Amazon, check availability on Amazon, or whatever affiliate program you're working with. It doesn't have to be Amazon. A lot of times check price is good because it adds a level of curiosity. People are thinking, oh, I wonder if it's cheaper or more expensive than what I expect, or maybe they scoped out a price before and they want to see if it's higher or lower than that price. So curiosity is good, and I like that call to action, check price. The other thing is it's really important to have a call to action early. And I like to have it essentially after the intro sentences or intro paragraph. You'll see the Wirecutter does this. So if you check out any product review on the Wirecutter, you'll see this. You might see a couple options, but I usually like to just keep it to one single recommendation. Hey, this is the best all around DSLR camera for most users. We like it because it's durable and there's a lot of lenses that you can interchange, right? Something simple with a reason why. Most durable, affordable price, whatever, most versatile. You could also mention the optimization of, what word am I looking for? Completely lost my train of thought. It happens from time to time when you watch the chat and you're trying to think and talk at the same time. It's harder than it looks. So I'll move on to the tables. I was chatting with Mushfiq, who I think that interview comes out tomorrow. Let me look at my Trello board. So Mushfiq has flipped a lot of websites in his day, And if you don't know who he is, you can stand by for tomorrow. Yes, indeed. That is March 4th is when it's coming out. I'm just checking my Trello board over here. Yeah. So I was talking to Mushfiq, and he was telling me about his tables. And essentially, he just has 3 columns in the table. It's an image, he has the name of the product, and then a button that's a call to action. So there's really not any info in there. I think I'm remembering the right 3 things. There's not much info in there. It's not going to be too big, right? Some people have huge tables and it doesn't look good on mobile. 50-60% of the traffic is coming in on mobile. So having a table that's clear and is responsive and looks good on mobile is really important. You don't have to have a lot of information in there. In Mushfiq, I think he mentioned something like 25% of his clicks were through the tables, something in that magnitude. So tables are really good to have in there. And the other thing is to make sure that if you have images that are linked, let the user know. I like to have a caption that says, get more information by clicking the image, or click the image to get more info on Amazon, or something like that. Because they don't know necessarily that that image is actually a clickable link, especially if they're on mobile. So if you're on a desktop, you can hover the cursor around and you'll see that it's a link. But if you're on a mobile device, you may not realize it. So those are a couple things around content. And I'm going to pause for a second. I should have downloaded a clip because to play here, because my voice is actually giving out. All right, what I'm going to do here is, well, I was going to switch cameras, but it looks like my webcam is not working here for some reason or another. Don't know why. So what I'm going to do is answer a few questions, the ones that came in, and I'll give a little shout out to my good buddies over at Niche Website Builders right here. And I'll just make this big so we can all see it. You can get 10% more content for any of your content orders, or if you buy a done for you site. Or you can get, or you could save 10% on the link building packages, which is the thing we're going to talk about in a second. So I appreciate them sponsoring. They sponsor the Q&A segment. All right, so I try to make it a little interesting. So we'll answer a few questions so that it is relevant. I'm going to scroll back up. All right, and Gina did ask, did Google have another update? To my knowledge, they did. It sounds to be more minor than the last update, which I think was December. Is that right? And mediocre says the wife just scolded him for looking at chicks on YouTube. Effective. So that was thanks to my thumbnail. So you know what? Maybe that's just a thing I do now, that I'll be the affiliate marketer with the thumbnails of women. Makes sense. And the fact is, right, here's the terrible fact. When I look at my data, it's like 90% male. So unfortunately, it does it does work, and I think that's why. And it's unfortunate for the fine people like Gina, and I think I saw some other Jennifer. Yeah, so apologies to everyone, just testing, and it seems to be effective. Austin got him too. Everyone digs it. So hey, if it works, it works. I'm not here to, I'm just trying to work with the algorithm here. All right, and Tim said, is it all about content marketing? So partially. So a lot of what we talked about before is the content marketing as far as like the content portion, and then the link building part is the marketing thing. And Jennifer says, what's the easiest way to build links? There's no easiest way specifically, because some people are going to have a more natural way to approach it that works for them specifically. So for me, yeah, I don't know the most natural way for me currently right now, because I'm doing so many videos and I'm doing podcasts and I'm doing interviews. Really the easiest way for me currently is to just be out there and be willing to be on shows interview other people, be interviewed by them, and talk to them either on YouTube or on a podcast. That works really well. For most people, that is probably not going to be the easiest route. It's really weird because honestly, if you would have told me when I first started online in 2013 that I would do videos and have a couple podcasts rolling, I would not have thought it was ever going to happen. Just doesn't make sense. Even like 2 years ago, it would barely make sense. Now it makes a lot of sense. So you'll have to look at what you like to do. I'll throw out some relatively like low cost to entry and straightforward ways. So I have talked extensively about blog commenting, and it's rare that you're actually going to get a link from the blog comment that you leave. And some sites have turned commenting off, right? So that's obviously not going to work. But if it is a blog that has active comments, then it could work out that if you put a link, not a link to a specific post, not within the comment, but if you link on your name and someone appreciates your comment and they follow your name back to your site, they may browse around, and that's good. I caution people, right? You're probably not going to get a link from the comment, but it can be the start of building a relationship, and that does work really well. It's a great way to network, and these days there's not as many commenters. So if you actually comment on a blog and have something meaningful to say, it usually goes a long way. And then you can take the relationship a little further, maybe send some emails, and then eventually it could turn into a link in some other fashion. Maybe they just link to you naturally because they appreciated your content. So that can happen, but it's rare because people are usually not going out of their way to link to you. However, if it's a blog where the person actually cares about what they're writing, they will actually try to find good resources for certain topics. So it's not weird. It's not weird. Another great way, low cost to entry, this one works really well, is like forum links. This is a technique that's been around for a very long time, probably since the beginning of forums, but you have to put in your time for this one, and more so these days because the spam detection is pretty good. And the moderators are good. They'll just kick you out. You can't add links to BS stuff, but there are many forums out there. There's forums on almost any topic, and really you can find their off-topic board and maybe post in there and get a link back to your site. Of course, it's better if it's relevant to the niche and what the forum's about, but you can't always choose, and the number of forums that are out there with sort of an off-topic board, it can work out really well. And I've seen and heard people basically build all their links from forum posts, and they actually get traffic because the people that are clicking on that post in the forum, they're interested in the topic, and if a member of the forum actually posts a link, they'll go check it out. So it can work. That's a really easy way to build links out there. All right. And it's a good question. Those are a couple of good link building techniques. And then just the old-fashioned guest posting. It takes work. It takes a while. I don't recommend you send out like a blast of emails like the Shotgun Skyscraper that Niche Website Builders does, and that is famous from Authority Hacker. And of course, Brian Dean was the Skyscraper, and then Authority Hacker added the Shotgun portion where you really do outreach on a high automated level. Highly effective. Niche Website Builders, they've been working with me for 7 months. The first month is slow because they have to write the first piece of content. They have to set up their systems. But over the course of the other 6 months, I have, I think, 93 links at this point. And the average domain rating from Ahrefs, I think, is like 44. So pretty impressive. pretty impressive from a pure link building standpoint. The domain ratings for most of the links are really good. It started off super high, and it just kind of depends on the content and the way that they're doing outreach. By the way, they just reopened the Shotgun Skyscraper service and campaigns that they can run for you. So do check it out. You can save 10%. All right. So good question on the link building. Also, if you want to do your own Shotgun Skyscraper campaign, that is time consuming. It's not really easy, but the volume of links that you can get is very high. So let's keep running through here. Masher says, Ezoic sent me an email about upgrading to premium. Is it really worth it? And then I will not personally answer, but I'll kick it over to my man Gustavo. In my experience, yes, the premium revenue will pay for itself and still put money in your pocket. So, yep, that is what I've heard on the street as well. But your mileage may vary, so it's worth it to give it a shot. But monitor closely. You got to make sure it's going to work out. The logic stands up, and it's a different kind of business model. I mean, most other places, don't have that sort of layout format. All right. And Gina sends a virtual hug. Doug, then I like blogging. Okay. Thanks, Gina. Appreciate it. And then we have Dervesh. I feel like in 2021, all blog topics are already taken. How to deal with this mindset and how to find the niche that we can stick to. Well, the good news, Dervesh, is everyone was saying that when I got started in 2013. So that's just a thing that people do. It feels like things are saturated, and they're more saturated than they were. But the fact is, people start and launch new things all the time. And the best way to stick with it is to pick a topic that you're really into and something that you would be thinking about anyway, or that you can see yourself enjoying to work on. So I can't talk too much about a new project that I'm working on, but you might notice for the people that really watch closely, my desk is in a different spot a little bit. So I had to move it because I was recording over here, down over here. Wait, it's very far. It's like I'm tall, much taller over here. And then you can. So I was recording over here with someone else. I have a new project I'm working on. And the thing is, it's something that I'm super interested in. I'm passionate about, and it'll be a probably several year project working on something, which is a big commitment. And in fact, me and the person didn't talk specifically timelines or anything, but what we're getting involved with is going to be probably the biggest thing that we have worked on, which is cool. At least we're hoping it to be that way. So pick something that you're passionate about or you're interested in. And you got to be careful, right? Some people would caution you, hey, don't do your passion. It'll turn it into work. So you have to watch out for that kind of stuff. And then the other part is if certain topics are taken, but you should have content on that topic, maybe you still need to write it and just expect that it's not going to pull in new traffic through organic search, but maybe people that find you through one of your other topic areas, they will eventually read all of your stuff and they'll eventually go check out that topic that you covered that you didn't rank for. So someone will make their way over to it. That said, doesn't always happen. I mean, I just deleted like 60% of my blog. So sometimes people don't read it all. And Nemo Fishing, what's going on? So I will mention, all right, I'm catching up on the chat. I'm a little bit behind, but we're going to speed through here. 1 Hour Professor also seconds the premium. he says, I just upgraded to premium for Ezoic. So far, 100% increase in earnings for the premium placements. There's a 14-day free trial. Absolutely try it. Thanks, Ron, for selling for me. But yeah, give it a shot. I mean, worst case scenario, it doesn't work, and then you could go back to where you were. And Gina says you just bought the carbonate theme this past weekend. Cool. And I'm actually going to be using it on the new podcast site. So I've played around with carbonate, and I stopped using it for one niche site of mine just because I wanted to do a particular thing and I hit a dead end on the coding portion of it. But for the new podcast site, it's totally fine. I'll tell you about that thing later. And yeah, there's a lot of fans out there. You know what? Maybe I need to stretch my demographic and really get out there. All right. David, thank you for posting a link to the fast WordPress themes. Shout out again to David and Adrian for helping in the chat room here. This is perfect. All right. 1 Hour Professor Ron says, the clickbait, because I saw the image and then he thought, hey, here comes another guru. And then he saw it was me and it made him laugh, which that was the goal. I mean, half of this, sometimes what happens is we get a little, not necessarily bored, but it's like, all right, going through the motions, kind of phoning it in a little bit. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do for this thumbnail, you know? What would make me laugh? Let's just have a little fun with this. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, this is I'm the boss, right? Like I don't have to worry about the boss getting mad at me. It's just for my own enjoyment and for your enjoyment, of course. You're the most important person here. So it was funny. I thought it was funny too. I'm glad people liked it. I'll have to do different ones. I'll have to do, I'm not sure. Maybe I can do I'll have to check the legalities for the copyright, but you know, on I guess like Instagram or Snapchat where you can like combine faces, maybe I combine my face with the model's face and then put that up. I'm not sure if that's going to have, number one, the same effect as the thumbnail today, or I think there's unintended consequences by doing that. There certainly are. Okay, back to it. Jen says, what is most efficient and cost effective? So cost, the problem is we have opposing goals here, opposing forces. So the efficient one for you specifically, for your workload, would be to hire a service. However, a service is expensive, thus not as cost effective necessarily. One way that you can kind of justify it is by valuing your time at a certain dollar amount. If you do that, then you can justify anything. if you start doing that, you can justify just about anything. But if you do value your time, which I mean, arguably is the most precious resource, you can't get back time. You can make more money. You could do other things, but you can't get back like hours that you spent doing outreach. And it's not particularly fun unless you like sending emails. So a service like Niche Website Builders could really work out well. The other one is HARO Linkbuilding. So that one is kind of amazing. And Jennifer, did you listen to the episode of the podcast from last Thursday? If not, go back and check it out. That must have been, was that like the 26th or something like that? Last Thursday. And I talked to my friend Shauna Newman. She has a service for HARO Linkbuilding. She got a few links for me, and one of my sites was brand new, absolutely crushed it. I think she got 4 links for me. I haven't shared the specifics on the metrics on that stuff, but she has a service. It works really well. HARO Linkbuilding, and Jennifer, I know you're a good writer. That could be a perfect route to get links. The minor flaw with HARO link building is you usually get a link to the homepage. So it does help build your brand. It helps build the domain authority overall, but you're not able to link to a specific URL. And if you do guest posting, you're able to do that. With the Shotgun Skyscraper, you usually get links to the skyscraper post, and then from there you can link to where you need that link juice to go. But it's usually more effective to link directly to that URL that you need links to. But it gets complicated. Good question. All right, and Gina says, if I sold a WordPress theme, you'd buy it, you hoard themes. You know what? I don't think I hoard them, but I have more than I use typically. So thanks for saying that. I have in the short term, no desire for that. Too many things. I'm trying to like close out some projects. And I see Amin has a question here, which I'll come back to. It's a little outside of the general idea, and I'll kind of wrap some of this stuff up in a bow. Oh, and Gina sent over a super chat for $5. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. All right. Oh, Tim says this. You have a big problem. You have a niche site in the gardening niche, and the site's 8 months old, 200 posts, didn't get any traffic, 10 visitors a day. Do I have time to take a look at it? I typically charge, Tim, just because, actually, this I can tell everyone. I used to do almost like free audits. This is years ago. People would send in a question, I'd have a look, I'd look at their site, I'd give them some tips, and then I wouldn't hear back. Until a few months later, and they would come back and ask some questions, and I asked them if they did the thing that I told them to do before, and they said, no, I got some other advice from some other thing. Nowhere, right? They read something or they heard someone say something. They didn't do the stuff that I recommended. And then they wanted more advice, which of course, I'm not going to waste my time now. You're not taking my advice before. So the problem, Tim, is people don't take free advice. So you can hire me. There's hire me information, I think, in the description, YouTube description here. So there's information there, and then I can take the time to have a look at your site and answer your questions. And Adrian mentions that I do use the Focus WordPress theme, which is built on, it's like the Thesis platform, which I really like. And yep. Oh yeah, and Gina says, well, it's a thread and a conversation here. So I appreciate the comments there, Gina, and the $5. All right. Zolkranon says, I have a brand new site, 17 articles. You were lucky a couple days ago and you got accepted into Ezoic, but you need to do their course to complete the process. Any suggestions for me? But you need to do their course. Well, I think you do the course, man. You do the course, you take the test, and then you're good to go. So that's what you do. Yeah. If you have a different question, let me know. And Embracing Nirvana is up early or staying up late. One of the two. Thanks for hopping in. And Jennifer says that she will check out the podcast. And if you haven't checked out my podcast, it's Doug.show. I talk about affiliate marketing, all the same stuff we're talking about here. And I have awesome guests that join me as well. And shout out again to Ron. He's been on the show a few times. So you can check out interviews with him, people like Shauna. There's a great new episode coming out tomorrow with Mushfiq, and he drops a lot of knowledge. Unfortunate thing, I'm not sure what the problem was, but the audio for the episode tomorrow, kind of crappy. I have a decent setup. I probably sound pretty good right now, I hope. Making sure I'm using the right mic. And I usually master the audio. Not usually, I always master the audio for anything but a live stream, especially the podcast, right? Audio needs to be good for a podcast. So I don't know why it really picked up some weird noise. I think it was on the other side because it's usually not noisy here. So it was some kind of weird hum that picked it up, and then I had to re-sample it and try to fix it up. So I think I got a lot of it, but apologies. And some people won't even notice. But if you have really nice headphones, you might not be able to listen to it. So I hope it's okay. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Oh, yep. And Amin mentions that he heard Shauna from Skip Blast, and yeah, she's doing awesome with that stuff. All right. Moo Moo Math, what's going on? Thanks for the podcast I run every day. And you bike to work. That's awesome. That's very active. So you learn something new every day. You have a large YouTube channel, 190,000 subs. Whoa. That's pretty cool. Yep. And I checked out your channel. You emailed me not too long ago. That's cool. I appreciate the support. And just, I mean, yeah, if you ever want to share your story on growing the YouTube channel, that is super interesting to me. And oh no, we have someone. Oh my goodness, we have someone spamming the chat here. All right, thanks Adrian for that. I'm just gonna skip his question though. Moving on, Zolkornan says, oh, so the site's 4 months old, 17 articles, KGR, first sale, good timing to put on Ezoic, or wait till you get enough traffic on the site. Yeah, I think, I mean, you're probably, do you have the 10,000 visitors per month, or did you join through one of the sort of accelerated processes? And, you know, take the course, pass it, go ahead, yeah, get it on there sooner than later. There's no reason not to. And okay, so I think I got through most of the questions, so I'll kind of wrap up a couple of the things. And if people have other questions, let me know. I'm trying to stay well hydrated. The other day, like after lunch, I don't know what happened. I sat down, I was really thinking about the thing I was working on, and I didn't drink anything between, like I went to work out at like 11 and then came back a couple hours later, and I didn't drink anything until like 5. I don't know why, I just forgot. I forgot to drink. So I'm trying to do better. I got this bottle here and then this one. Really awesome to watch someone drink, I guess. So, okay, so to tie it in a bow a little bit, you have content, you have links. Usually a person gravitates to one of those and they maybe spend too much time on the one. So if you have spent most of your time only on content, I do encourage you to try to get some links rolling. It's difficult before you get started, but once you do, it's a little bit easier to connect the dots and figure out how to get those links. Not always, and it's going to be rocky at first, but once you get moving, it's doable. You can hire a service. It's usually quite expensive, though it doesn't take nearly as much time. The other interesting thing is with HARO, you can build links for free. And spoiler alert from the Shauna interview from last Thursday on the podcast, Adrian put a link in the show notes. Basically, she uses the free version of HARO even for her service. You can pay and get access to the requests, the source requests, right away if you pay $50 a month. And that gives you a leg up because you can get those requests as soon as they're approved, which is potentially hours before anyone else sees it other than, the paid folks. So Sean has been able to not only run a service and get some amazing links, she's doing it on the free account. So that is a really free or a really cheap way to do it. It only costs you time. And if you do like receiving and sending emails, you'll fucking love it. I personally, I don't love emails. They're necessary, of course, but I don't love emails sending or receiving. So it's not the funnest thing to do, funnest. Okay. And we have LSR. You recently watched my course. All right, so you're going to check out the KGR. Awesome. Let me know how it goes. Fun and common question here. We got mediocre. There's a new site. Is it better to drip feed the content to the site as fast as you can write it, or launch the site when you have a few articles to publish so that it doesn't look deserted when someone visits? Okay, I want to know from people in the chat as well. I'm curious what you recommend, and I'm not sure if this is a very good or a very bad idea, but I'm just curious. If I zoom it in, just what it looks like. If I have to move, just curious the different focal lengths and how things appear. I have to squat down lower. It blurs the background more. I like that. So I'm allowing people to answer with what they think you should do. I'll tell you as well. I typically, I'll wait. I'm going to move on to the next question. I'm going to come back to it because I want to read out some of the other thoughts out there. And thanks again to Gina for the $5. That'll buy a beer for me. So it's wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. Usman says, how to stay safe from Google's Your Money or Your Life update, specifically Amazon affiliate blogs. Well, if you stay out of those areas, so health-related things, your money or your life, then you'll be in better shape. There are some techniques and some things you could do to add authority to your site. I have a blog post on expertise, authority, and trust, EAT. So those are kind of updates that are related or referred to as the same thing. They're synonymous. So you could check those out. But if you're an authority in the space, then that helps quite a bit. And if you can lend expertise, that's really good. And then we have this person who says, dude, why are you so bald? Well, I clearly shaved my head, man. I'm not sure which one you are in that picture there. Let's see. If we're evaluating each other, maybe let's take a look at you. Well, I can't see very well. I'm trying to. You must be the little one. All right. Yeah, and I wish I would have shaved my head sooner. It's fantastic. I love it. It's so quick. You hop out of the shower. You don't have to dry your hair. I don't have to comb my hair. I roll out of bed. I pretty much look just like this. So it works well. It works well. And thanks again to Gina. All right. So going back to, there was a question somewhere. I skipped from Amin. All right, back to Amin's question here. That is not the question. Amin did say something though. All right. Amin says this. Break down the pros and cons of paying hourly versus a flat fee, and what tasks are recommended for the model. So number one, you're the boss when you're hiring people, so you can really do it however you want. I'll give a concrete example. So if you're getting content written, I like to typically pay I like to pay a flat fee. So I'll just make up an example. For 1,000 words, $20. So it's 2 cents a word. They're roughly aiming for that word count, and they know ahead of time that I want a specific word count, so I can just give them a flat fee, and I really don't care how long it takes them to write it. That's up to them. And if possible, I would give them a brief so they know what to include, maybe some references that I want them to include as well. So writing content is a good one to do a flat fee. It is based on a word count, but I cap it at a certain amount so that it's $20, and they don't want to write too much more than that. And then they know if they don't write enough that I would tell them they need to write more. One thing I like to do for hourly is editing and the content management, because editing is variable. We don't know how long it's going to take. Let's say I write the content and I do a terrible job and I pass it along to my editor to draft it into WordPress. Well, maybe I did a terrible job and it takes a very long time to edit it because there's so many mistakes. And maybe he or she needs to get a bunch of images to upload and resize and add affiliate links and add internal links. And we don't know how long it's going to take. Even if it's 1,000-word article, it might take an hour. Or if it's a really good article and it's still 1,000 words, it might take 10 minutes. So if it's a variable amount of time for completing the task, I like to make it an hourly rate. That's the most fair to the individual, and it makes sense to me, right? If I was doing the work, that's how I would want it to be. Okay, so back to mediocre. Should you drip out your content or publish it as soon as you can? Amin says this: no one will visit your site within the first few months, so don't worry about it. No need to. Just publish as fast as you can and try not to compromise on quality while doing so. Paul Scott says, I've tried both methods, drip feeding and publishing content all at once. And to be honest, it doesn't make a difference. Okay. And Gina, contrary, says, I think drip feed, since it takes time for each article to launch and you probably won't get too many views if you publish it all at once. And and time to rank. Okay. So perfect counterpoints. Basically, publish it as fast as you can. The thing is, I think Gina and Paul and Amin are kind of all saying the same thing, which is good. And it reflects what I think too. So the thing is, just publish it all at once if you can, if you have all the content. If you are writing it yourself, then publish it as soon as you can. If basically, I don't know what I was going to say. You won't get penalized for publishing it all at once, and you won't get any benefit from dripping it out. There was some time previously, right? I don't know, prior to 2010, where if you published on a regular basis, you might rank better, but really blogs were just newer. So people would actually follow them and go back. What you shouldn't do, here's what I was going to say. What you shouldn't do is write your content and then hold it to publish it all at once. Don't do that. That won't help you out. You just want to have things published as soon as possible. That's the main idea here. So let's zoom back out. So I think it doesn't make a difference. Get it out as soon as possible. Get it indexed, and then it'll have more time to rank out there. All right, LSR says, what are my thoughts on share a sale versus Amazon affiliate? You can't accept low Amazon affiliate rates. Okay, here's the trade-off. So the Amazon affiliate rates are low, but they convert at a much higher rate. The friction to buy something on Amazon is so low. I can't remember. I want to say there's like 120 million Prime members in the US. That's a lot. If you just get someone to Amazon, chances are they're thinking about buying something anyway, and they were browsing over there not too long ago. So even if the commission rates are so much lower with Amazon, there's a good chance it's going to be easier and faster for you to earn money from Amazon than other affiliate programs starting off. As you're getting traffic, it's really good to find other affiliate programs. They'll pay more. Maybe at some point in time, you'll have a good idea of the products that you're selling, the kind of traffic that you get. So you can work directly with companies. You could find companies on ShareASale to work with. And another thing that people usually don't think about is kind of the thesis of the multi-profit site course that I have. Amazon affiliate is a great way to earn money. Other affiliate programs are good. Think about digital products. Think about courses and software products. So it's good to find niches where you have an idea already at the very beginning about how you're going to monetize. Display ads, Amazon affiliate. You can move on to other affiliate programs and digital products in some fashion. And you can create your own digital products. All right, and Moo Math and Science says, I teach middle school full-time, but I can reach out. And all right, yeah. Okay, so we'll finish it up here. I do have a meeting coming up, so I'm going to I'm going to finish the questions out of order. So Daniel does mention that he prefers to drip content, but you said a weekend and go to your Google console and index those that weren't picked up at Google bots. Okay, got it. And Amin appreciated the thumbnail. Where did I get the image? So I do the thumbnails on Canva, and that was just one of the images. I think I put either model. I did try at first. I think I put sexy model. It was too much. It was too much, and I was like, it's not exactly what I'm going for. But there's a lot of lingerie. I think technically it would be okay, but I mean, this is not even a family show. But I was like, you got to work your way into that. Like if I just came out with a lingerie and it was like earn more and get traffic, maybe I do it next week. I don't know. Yeah, check out Canva. I just got the free version over there too. Okay. So one more question. All right. Ironically, Product Promotions says, man, someone is spamming my brand because I fired him. Please help. The ironic thing is this guy, Product Promotions, spam the chat. Come on, man. The irony, or is that the right word? It is amazing. They're spamming your brand. I don't know, man. Block them. Get rid of them. I don't know how to help you, dude. But I could tell you, if you're complaining about someone spamming and you in turn spam someone's chat, that's not the way to get help. And I want to thank Gina very much for the $5. Cheers. I'll drink something later. And of course, we got David, Adrian, our fine moderators. Much appreciated. It really is helpful. So thank you very much. And everyone that showed up here today. So I'll be back again next week. I do these live streams every week. If you're not on my email list, you can go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button, and you'll be able to enter your name and email. And I do have a new project coming out soon. I should probably be able to talk about it in the next couple weeks or so, but I did the first piece of work today, and it was pretty awesome, very fun, and I'm excited about it. Very excited about it. So we'll catch you later. We'll see you on the next episode. And yeah,